Happy day 4. Today's passages are from Jeremiah 2 and Romans 6, 1-14. They both talk about sin. Jeremiah 2 really gets to the root of sin, and then Romans talks about being dead to sin and alive in Christ. So starting with Jeremiah, I think I always used to think that sinning just meant disobeying God and not following his commandments or not following his plan or his will in my life. But it goes deeper than that. And so Jeremiah 2 says in verse 11, "But my people have exchanged their glory for worthless idols. Be appalled at this, O heavens, and shudder with great horror." So I think that's the root of our sin, is that we have exchanged God for idols in our life. And I think that's where Adam and Eve started, right? They saw that the tree of knowledge was more desirable to them than God himself walking in the garden with them. And then Jeremiah 2 continues to say, "My people have committed 2 sins. They've forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water." So I just think that we, forsake God, and we let go of God, and then we try to capture this essence of joy and happiness and life in these broken cisterns, these wells. And I think for Adam and Eve, it was this idea of knowledge, of being as equal to God. And for us, I think we have cisterns of marriage, of wealth, of sex, of approval of people. And it just all comes from that root of thinking that something in our life, something that we find on this earth, is better and more fulfilling than God is going to ever be. So that is the root and the fruit of sin. And then we move to Romans 6, where it talks about being dead to sin and alive in Christ. And I think once we have the root of sin, there's this conception that once I love Jesus and I've trusted him, that I'm just going to be great and I'm not going to have the same sin struggles and I'm going to read my Bible daily. But Paul doesn't say that. He says, I think in verse 12, "Therefore don't let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desires. Don't offer the parts of your body to sin as instruments of wickedness, but rather offer yourselves to God." So it's a continual act that we do, And the best example that I've heard is just the idea that once you are a citizen of the United States of America, you are not forced to follow its laws and its rules. You don't automatically become a good citizen, right? That's a choice that you make every day to follow the laws and to obey the rules of the land. And in the same way, once we're dead to sin and alive in Christ, we choose to obey and we choose to live according to the way of Christ because we have died and we are fully alive in him. So I think today I'm just going to spend time reflecting on what my cisterns are. What am I giving up God for? What am I saying is better for me and more fulfilling to me than God is going to be? And knowing that it's going to be a continuous choice daily to give up those things and to choose God instead.